Good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Schaefer, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Budget Committee. I'm going to call to order our regular meeting for Monday, July 13th, 2026. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. These broadcasts include real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to verify the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Wansley.
Present.
Rainville.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Warren is absent. Osman.
Present.
Stevenson.
Present.
Chavez.
Present.
Whiting.
Present.
Chowdhury. Absent. Palmisano. Absent. Vice Chair Schaefer.
Present.
That is 9 members present.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. I'll also remind colleagues that we are using speaker management, so please make sure you sign in. Our first item only item on our agenda today is a discussion around the Byrne Discretionary Community Project Funding Grants Program for the evaluation of problem nature codes. I will invite Will Christensen, Office of the Director, or he is the Director of the Design and Implementation, to begin the presentation from Office of Community Safety. Thank you, Director Christensen.
Thank you and good afternoon, council members. I'm Will Christensen, Director of Design and Implementation with the Office of Community Safety. Today I will brief you on our Byrne grant work, specifically research and pilots to expand alternative response that keep residents safe and ensure that each 911 call gets the appropriate response. This effort really focuses on diverting appropriate 911 calls away from traditional police response to civilian responses, improving service quality, response times, and reducing officer workload. So this is also work that supports recommendations identified in the NYU asset and gaps analysis as well. So we're excited to move that work forward. I will cover some background, scope, deliverables, and the 2 pilot programs that this grant funds. First, a quick look at how we got here. The city received the original award in 2023. However, the original scope was not approved by DOJ, and so OCS partnered with Performance Management and Innovation to redesign the grant. DOJ approved the new scope in March of this year, and council approved subrecipient agreements in December 2025. These subrecipient agreements were for the academic partners that we are working with, City University of New York and the NYU Policing Project. They'll be doing research and data analysis for the grant. As I mentioned, in partnership with City University of New York and the NYU Policing Project, we will be analyzing 911 problem nature codes to identify call types that can be safely diverted from law enforcement to a civilian response. Pilots being launched include non-injury traffic collision response, shifting select responses from MPD to traffic control, a juvenile deflection program connecting at-risk youth to early upstream services, and then a project coordinator that will evaluate pilots, track metrics, and keep projects on schedule. So let me go into the first pilot program first, the traffic pilot. The purpose of this pilot program is to deliver faster, customer-focused response for minor traffic collisions while reducing MPD workload. This pilot is built on lessons from Wilmington, North Carolina, and their civilian crash investigator program. It's been adapted for Minneapolis. We'll be using local collision data to target non-injury, non-hazard incidents suitable for traffic control to respond to. Our expected impacts from this pilot are faster clearance, less duplication of work, better resident experiences, and more MPD bandwidth for priority calls. The other pilot program funded in this grant will be a juvenile deflection program. The goal of this program is to identify at-risk youth early and connect them to supports that address root causes, really keeping them out of the justice system. Two guiding pillars of this work are early intervention, so identifying referrals through schools, community partners, families, for those appropriate call types. Upstream services, looking at things like restorative justice, mental and behavioral health resources, and family engagement. And again, the intent with this program to strengthen trust, reduce justice involvement for youth, and connect families to stabilizing resources as well. Again, these pilots will be done in partnership with performance management and innovation. At this time, I'll pause and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Director Christensen. I'd like to mention at this moment that we have been joined in our committee meeting by Councilmember Chowdhury and Councilmember Osmond. Thank you for joining us. I see Councilmember Warren. Sorry, I didn't see you sneak in at the end. Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Vice Chair Schaefer. I'm so excited to actually see this presentation. I want to take a moment to just share kudos to many of my colleagues, especially those who've been around for the past 4 years. I'm thinking Councilmember Chavez, as well as Council members Chowdhury, Chektai, also Vice President Osmond here, as well as President Payne. We've spent 4.5 years doing a lot of work to champion non-armed safety services and programs. And I think oftentimes when we're hearing discourse and discussion and media reports about Minneapolis experiencing some of the lowest levels of violence that it has ever had, oftentimes the face of that is MPD, and that cannot be further from the truth. It's actually been supplemented with so many robust non-armed or non-MPD safety services that are out in our communities, from violence interrupters to our behavior crisis response teams. Those folks are out there every single day also interrupting, mitigating incidents from occurring. And that's because this body, specifically a number of council members, believed in the effectiveness of this work, and we've fought tooth and nail, oftentimes in spite of the pushback from the Frye administration, to move dollars and move policy.
Stay on topic, please.
This is on topic. Do not interrupt me. This is in spite of that. And
I'm sorry, Councilmember Wansley.
Vice Chair Schaefer, I am remaining germane to the topic and talking about council's history with this. And
I just want to make one point. I just want to make one point that we don't address administration when they're not here.
We can address the administration. That is not a real policy, Vice Chair Schaefer. Please do not interrupt me while I'm staying on topic on this. This is so unnecessary.
I just want to mention that's something, I know you were not at our strategic directions, but that's something that we mentioned.
This has nothing to do with strategic planning. You are creating an unnecessary detour in my conversation. I would like to proceed. So that said, we have spent a lot of work over the past 4 years to move millions of dollars towards supporting these type of programs and initiatives. And that said, I do know at the leadership of Chair Jason Chavez, and when I was also Vice Chair in Public Health and Safety, we requested a presentation on these pilots, because in 2025, we devoted $500,000 towards supporting the gaps an analysis report initiatives that said 47% of MPD's calls could be rerouted to non-armed safety services. So I, at least in the presentation, wanted to get an update on what happened with that $500,000. I believe it was relegated to, at that time, PMI to help do the design and development. But also in that presentation from March of 2023, it noted the original receiving of that Bryant's grant for a number of pilots. And this is the second question. I want to know, why did it take 2 years in order to do the modification process to receive approval? Because at that time, in March of 2023, it was noted that those funds had already been approved. So 2 things. I would love to know what has been the status with the $500,000 that went towards developing and supporting initiatives on like what you're presenting today. And then secondarily, what led to the 2-year delay between your original notation of receiving these funds and the needing to resubmit modifications for the scope?
Chair Schaefer, Councilmember Wansley, for the $500,000, I'll have to consult my colleagues on that. I believe if it was indeed for planning purposes for accepting this grant and undertaking these pilot programs, there has been a great deal of work in doing that planning work, whether it's site visits to Wilmington, North Carolina, or really just building out what these pilots will look like so that when we receive the grant money that we can implement them quickly. In terms of the delay, it has been quite a delay. I think, I want to provide a couple reasons for that. The initial earmark was given to the Office of Performance and Innovation in 2023. Since then, there have been several staffing and leadership changes within the city. When the new department, Performance Management and Innovation, was created, they had to receive approval to move forward submitting pilots in this research. So between those changes, they actually had to kind of submit another request to receive the money. Then the grant was moved to the Office of Community Safety. And then with working recently on this, we've had to go through some DOJ processes within the last couple of years that have been extensive administrative processes to get approval, whether it's independent research integrity requirements of the DOJ or conflict of interest forms as well. So there's just been a lot of hoops to jump through, and along with that, a lot of organizational change.
So for clarification, are you saying that $500,000, when it was shifted from PMI over to OCS, those dollars were spent down then in the development? I'm trying to get clarity again, what happened there? Councilmember
Chair Schaefer, Councilmember Wansley, I'll have to follow up to get clarification on that and just get the details around how that funding was spent.
Okay, I would like to know a staff memo for follow-up on that, a follow-up on what happened with the $500,000 appropriation that council made regarding the alternative safety services pilots once it was moved to the Office of Community Safety. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Christensen. Councilmember Wansley, is that all your questions?
I wasn't almost done, but
okay.
I will let you know. In addition to that, can you share status update on the slide, just looking back at the March of 2023 presentation, in terms of some of the other things that I guess in scope modification, you did mention potential options as being, I'm seeing here, like victim services. There was also something around suicide attempts, traffic incidents is involved in here, tenant and neighbor trouble. So just looking at those, wanting to know, is the office also proceeding further exploration of these, even without the 2.5 being directed towards that, but just wanted to get a sense of the rest of those too.
Chair Schaefer, Councilmember Wansley. Right now, the only 2 pilots in this grant will be the traffic collision response and the juvenile deflection program. I think, as you well know, around the NYU asset and gaps analysis and with the Safe and Thriving Communities work, we're always looking at ways in which we can improve public safety, community safety services for residents and alternative responses. Again, I think these two pilots build on what is a robust continuum of alternative response services that the city has, and we'll continue to build out that portfolio.
Okay, so just further clarification, you don't have any information in terms of status update, and I know Director of PMI, who also joined in on the presentation from March of 2023, is here. Do you have any updates related to some of the other ones that you reported out that was talking about future design possibilities? I don't think there's any question about the ones that you're asking for support on today.
I don't have an update on those other pilots at this time.
You said you don't have an update. Okay. Maybe this is also something to follow up on in the Public Health and Safety Committee. I know we did receive regular updates on the pilot's developments. I'll follow up with Chair Chavez around that so that we can at least learn what's going on with those and if there's continued efforts that we can do on this body to support that if there is financial need. Those are actually all my comments. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Christensen. Next up, we have Councilmember Stevenson.
Thank you. You're about to be the second person to be corrected, but caught yourself. My question is on, you missed it in committee the other day. I corrected somebody for the first time. That was a joke for those who were there. Sorry. Sorry, my question is on this, and maybe you said this and I didn't quite understand, but I guess maybe asking it this way, how can people expect to see this?
Chair Schaefer, Councilmember Stevenson, if I might presume a response about how residents might receive it, this pilot program for traffic control response, residents may see an alternative response model that is not MPD, responding to traffic collisions in some cases. And so we're hopeful that, again, that reduces MPD bandwidth, but it also gives residents a different city service to interact with, traffic control. For the juvenile deflection program, we're hoping this becomes a resource and a service that families, youth, and justice partners can look to for youth that may be at risk of further justice involvement, and see this as a way to ensure that youth get different services and resources. So we hope to see tangible impacts from these pilot programs. I think speaking to the research and analysis that's done as well, the target here that NYU and the city have jointly made is 20% of responses being alternative response. That would make us leaders in the nation. I think residents, should we meet that goal, will feel a real impact, a real difference in terms of who is responding to 911 calls and providing help.
Do you have an idea of when these pilots will be up and running?
I don't have a timeline right now. We're still in the final stages of receiving the money from the DOJ. Again, we can follow up with more detailed timelines on what's been done. I can say that extensive planning has been done to make sure these are ready to implement.
Okay. Does the office have a goal about when you would like to have these up and running?
As soon as possible.
Okay, but I guess I'm just asking, should that be weeks, months, years? I mean, just to get a ballpark.
I'll have to follow up with a timeline. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Director Christensen. I had a couple questions around who are the primary partners around the juvenile program. Could you speak a little bit to that? Is that OCS? Is that county social workers? Who are going to be our primary partners in this response pilot?
Thank you, Chair Schaefer. I'll defer to PMI to speak about the details of the program. I can say that for all this work, OCS is partnering closely with PMI in terms of kind of the overall direction and strategy. I think we're still looking into what the specifics of each program look like. I mentioned in my presentation that there's a couple different service types that there could be. But again, some of this too is juvenile deflection is more of a concept. It hasn't been built into a program. So there isn't a baked out program here. It's a lot about designing that, figuring out what the community needs, and responding with the services that the city and our partners can meet those needs with.
So the pilot is not necessarily an implementation, but more of an analysis?
Chair Schaefer, we do fully intend for there to be a service here for folks, but I'm just, what I would say is that right now we're early enough in this planning stages that I can't speak to exactly what that looks like.
Yes, and please introduce yourself, and thank you for the additional information.
Of course. Good afternoon. My name is Kira Haspark, and I'm the Department Director of Performance Management and Innovation. Vice Chair Tabor, specifically to your question, sort of what are we, hoping to do with? I think your question was first on deflection. As we have done we have done quite a bit of research on programs that have been successful. So it would be a partnership with the county, partnering with county social workers, schools, and again, we don't have a list of who we specifically will start to reach out to, but this is a proven program that is working in places like Longmont, Colorado, Duval County, the county has a juvenile auto theft deflection program, which I know Council President Payne has talked about. We have been talking about these pilots for a while and have been working very judiciously on our end. I appreciate that it does feel like it has been a long time, but to really get the paperwork in order with the Department of Justice, we've had a lot of hoops to go through. This started as an earmark grant for those who are new to the council, so Senator Klobuchar's office was able to secure this for us, and then what happens is you go through the process of applying for the grant after you're awarded the money, which is different than how the normal grant process works. So that is why, yes, 2 years later, we are still trying to get things like just the other, month found out we needed to now maybe go through an IRB because now the DOJ thinks that maybe we have to do that because we'll be collecting data, right, from juveniles where they are, I will say, requirements that our offices are not used to doing, even in what would be a standard process. So it has been a little bit more technical in nature. We have been working consistently with program staff and DOJ, even when it was transferred over to OCS. So we have been engaged in partnership, and I appreciate that it feels like I've been talking about this since I've been a department head, but we have actively been doing that. So for the deflection program, back to your question, we would partner with, existing youth redirection programs, but the goal is, again, to keep youth out of the system, come up with targeted plans. I don't know what the official word is. I'm not a social worker, but official plans that can provide them services. Maybe it's something for their family, just to keep them out. And again, the county's auto theft deflection program and the city attorney's office has a small diversion program here in the city of Minneapolis. So just really trying to build off of those. So we've done research on what other communities have done, how they've launched it, and are hopeful that as soon as we get that funding can go on and start talking with community, talking with you all, right, and who some of your partners are, who you may think could be great for us to talk to. I will take a step back just to explain some information as well on the traffic collision, the non-injury, I want to be very clear, non-injury pilot. That is well designed. We went through quite a few designs on that. We're very excited that with the data we were using, we were able to expand it, so it will be citywide. The project team went down to North Carolina to learn a lot from that crash investigator program, really have best practices, so we will be set to go. As it relates to timing, just to sort of hopefully answer some of your questions, a lot of that does depend on city process, so we'll have to hire, we have to get vehicles, we'll have to retrofit those, and we're excited to get electric trucks, but we will have to do all of that, and so that is what we are now starting. Now that we know, again, the funds, that our budget has been released and why we're here today, so staff can start work, because I don't want to order a truck, I don't want to order 3 electric trucks, and then say we can't use them because something fell through with the budget. So we're now at a different point in DOJ releasing the budget and us us coming before you asking that you approve us being able to now start drawing down from those funds. So we have a great plan with the non-injury vehicle collision response, again, as a victim service, using traffic control agents who are going to be able to speak languages other than English, really go out there, secure the area, and then take some of that role on that MPD previously was doing. And again, now many insurances let you just snap that picture and put it through the app. So, right, we don't need to send someone out, and maybe someone who is, has a different immigration status or just is uncomfortable with police coming out and need to file a report, it will be a civilian response. We've crunched the data on what times are the most prone to those types of accidents, and so again, we will be ready to go from that perspective. And just need to start the training and get the vehicles. It's really going to take that infrastructure and training the agents. So feel pretty set that as soon as the internal things are ready to go, that we have pretty solid designs, and we'll feel very comfortable, especially with juvenile deflection, starting those conversations with the county and with other partners.
Thank you for that additional detail. That's very helpful and gives us a kind of a preview of what's to come. And thank you for your perseverance in seeing this project through. Next up is Councilmember Whiting.
Thank you, Vice Chair Schaefer, and thank you both for the presentation. Really excited to kind of see this 2.5 million here, particularly for policing alternatives. Really excited about the programs here. Just have a few questions, maybe, Director. And as we are kind of looking through this, do you have any? I'm looking at the slides here, and I'm like, maybe I'm missing something here from the materials. But would just be curious to see. Right, I'm sure all of us on the body want to see these programs and pilots be successful in this work, and so just wondering where the funding is going as it relates to each pilot. Where that funding, right, is the majority of the funding? I'm assuming it's probably not being spent on trucks, but trying to figure out where these dollars are going within each specific pilot.
Chair Schaefer, Councilmember Whiting, thank you for the question. So out of the 2.5 million total allocation, the breakdown among the projects is approximately 900,000 for the traffic collision response, almost 500,000 for the juvenile deflection pilot program, the project coordinator at 128,000, and then NYU and the City University of New York together approximately 1 million for their research and data analysis support. NYU at 579,000, CUNY at 404,000.
Okay.
So that's the total budget.
Helpful. And then, right, it sounds like the larger chunk of that being kind of to the sort of the research analytics process on if these are successful or not. Sounds like everything.
I would just say that I think combine the pilots plus the project coordinator will come out to just over 1.5 million, and then the remaining would be the research
Helpful.
and analysis.
How long is the pilot in its whole supposed to kind of take? Like, how long are we looking at? I guess for
12
each.
months.
12
months.
12 months.
12-month pilot, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. And then is the hope then kind of to come back to council and kind of discuss the success or non-success of the program?
Yes, I think part of this is that that project coordinator role that we have within the budget is really meant to evaluate these programs and let us know what's working, what we should continue funding, maybe what we should change about our approach. So we would come back to council with recommendations regarding these alternative responses.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm like, please let us know how we can be helpful and hopefully see the success of these programs move forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. Just a very quick question. For this traffic, new way of doing traffic or non-enforcement reporting for accidents, do we need a change in the state law?
Chair Schaefer, Councilmember Rainville. We're looking into some of that right now. I can't speak to the specific statutes, and I don't want to get ahead of the city attorney's office on this, but it's a possibility.
It would be good to know, because we can put that on our legislative agenda to help get a change if needed.
Absolutely. We'll follow up with council if that's a need.
Thank you.
Great. I don't see anyone else in queue. Is there any other council members that have any questions? Seeing no further discussion, I will move forward the Byrne Discretionary Community Project Funding Grants Program for evaluation of problem nature codes. And clerk, all those, do we need a second on this one?
With approval, sorry.
Is there a second? Second. Great. We have a motion to move this forward with approval. All those in favor say aye.
I'm on queue.
I'm sorry, I didn't scroll all the way down there. Please forgive me.
Oh, no worries, Chair. I just want to, if you can move it with approval. With approval?
With approval?
Yeah.
Sure. We will move this forward with approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. With that, we've concluded all business to come before the committee today. If there's no objection, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.